And when you're looking at leading movements, and we've been working in a trial advocacy workshop this week, you want to be able to tell a good story. A good story is what engages people. And so I saw the opportunity to tell Jamaica a good story about their legal system and the power of the impact that this story could have in creating change if the citizens rose to the occasion and led protests there like they had led protests for Trayvon Martin. So the story that I told is of a 31-year-old hardworking gentleman whose mother she was a seamstress, and she was working every day to put her children through school because school's not free in Jamaica. So they live in a one-room house. They don't have any furniture. They have a refrigerator. They have a bed. 3 adults share the bed in this one-room house. And when the kids were little, they used to actually sleep in her seamstress shop at night because she couldn't go back and forth between work, and she had to get enough work done to pay for her kids. So this woman has managed to put her children through school. Her daughter came here. She received a master's in molecular biology from a school in Georgia, and she's looking to become a doctor. And her son, even though he wasn't able to attend any type of formal education or chose not to, had worked very hard as a construction worker and was on his way to work on a Sunday morning, hadn't been involved in any criminal activity, and had a piece of a ganja cigarette and was beaten to death in police custody. And then the police, covered up the beating, said he fell off of a bunk bed, hit his head, and it killed him, which is what the police always say in Jamaica when there's an in-custody death. Those bunk beds are killing people left and right. So that's the story that I told, and I said, Jamaicans, how can you allow this to happen on your Independence Day? You fought colonial oppression. You fought to be a free nation, but look at how you're allowing your own people to be treated. And if you care about Trayvon Martin, if you can say the words Trayvon Martin, you have to be able to say the name Mario Dean with the same sense of pride and do what Bob Marley has told you to do, and that is to get up and stand up for your rights. So those are the type of messages that I was giving when I was engaging the Jamaican citizens through the Jamaican media. I had a lot of media contacts, so I went down and led a media campaign and had Benjamin Crump, I had him issue a statement from the United States as the president-elect of the National Bar Association, basically called out to a few of my contacts and began this international media campaign in Jamaica and held press conferences down there to expose the issue and to urge the government to act quickly and to do something about it before more international pressure came. And as many of you know, Jamaica's economy is built on tourism. So bad publicity is not something that the Jamaican government wants. And right or wrong, I was very cognizant of that fact while leading this human rights campaign. So to make a long story short, I took a lot of the principles that I had learned from my work in the Trayvon Martin case about how to effectively use the media, how to message, how to communicate with people and citizens, not using legalese, but communicating with them on a human level. I am Trayvon Martin. I am Mario Dean. I created images of the two of them side by side. There's this beautiful image where they're both wearing the same red shirt and they look very similar. So through the use of media and putting on media pressure and also pursuing the issue through their different legal ramifications, we were able to get 3 officers arrested within about 3 to 4 weeks of starting to lead the campaign. So there's 3 officers that are now being prosecuted for manslaughter in Jamaica, which has set precedent within the nation. Officers never get arrested, they never get prosecuted. We've seen that in our own nation, the failure for our government to arrest and prosecute officers for misconduct and for the killing of innocent life. But in Jamaica, somehow we got it done in about 3 or 4 weeks. So we were able to accomplish that. I got the political opposition, the JLP and the PNP, to come together at Mario Dean's funeral and brought them both in front of the national camera and confirmed their pledge before the public that they would found a human rights commission in Jamaica. So the government leaders are now working on founding a standing human rights commission to address various human rights issues in Jamaica. The law school in Kingston is interested in founding a human rights research institute to begin working with their students to address some of these issues. And a very interesting legal issue arose. So as soon as he was killed, Mario was killed, and there was this huge media uproar, and there was the threat of international intervention, they decriminalized possession of a small amount of ganja. So When I say decriminalized, I mean it's a very interesting legal situation because they essentially issued this mandate where officers can no longer arrest for possession of a small amount of ganja, but it's technically still illegal on the books. So it's created an issue for the court system too, because the judges are saying, well, it's not an arrestable offense, but it's still technically illegal, so what do I do with all these pending cases that involve a small amount of possession of ganja? But to make a long story short, this one case, it wasn't just one case, it was the ability to take a single legal case and create systemic changes and reform for an entire nation. And I think part of it is recognizing when we have these opportunities and maximizing all of our skills as advocates, not just our skills within the context of a courtroom, but the skills that we're given as social engineers. Because attorneys, as I'm sure many of you heard, are really social engineers. And we have this incredible responsibility to give back to the communities that we serve. And we've seen recently, a lot of us tend to take our education for granted. We've seen recently children killed in Pakistan fighting for the right for their education. So there are going to be times during exams when you guys get annoyed that you have to be here. And why do I have to work so hard? You have to remember that it's a privilege. It's a privilege and it's an honor to be given this opportunity of education. And with that privilege and with that honor comes a great sense of responsibility to help create and found a better and more equal society. And not everybody in this room is going to go out and pursue public interest. Many of you will go to corporate law, you will go into entertainment law. But that doesn't mean you check your humanity at the door. Because you don't have to be a civil rights attorney or a public interest attorney to serve our nation and to fight for equality and ensure equal treatment of people.